I'm here with Oren Peli. No, I'm just kidding. I'm here with Oren Peli from the movie Insidious. We've been talking to Lee. I think we've got James coming up next. Now, this is what I was saying to Lee was it's great, especially like with the resurgence of things like Paranormal Activity and now seeing kind of more of like a big budget ghost story. I don't think we've seen a ghost story like this in a long time. That really just is so unsettling and suspenseful, and I mean it's very effective, really, really effective. What was this something that Lee was saying that you actually approached them to start with on this, and that this was something you really wanted them to do? What was kind of the influence behind this for you?
Well, our original idea after Paranormal Activity came out is we were trying to figure out if there's a way we can produce movies, the kind of movies that we like, and make them indie, low budget, kind of outside the system, and collaborate with filmmakers that we really, love and admire. Mm-hmm. So we approached Lee and James, and we told them, this is what we have in mind, and do you guys have any ideas? And they told us about the idea for Insidious, which they've had for a long time, and we read the script, and we thought, this is really awesome. And James is going to direct it. How much better can it get? So it just all made sense, and we had a lot of faith in the project, and we, moved forward with it as quickly as we could.
Was it hard getting? I first remember hearing about this film, I think almost like a year or so ago, because I remember we were publishing some stuff on our website about the project, and was it hard getting it? To the point of where the distribution and everything happened? Because I know sometimes films nowadays, people don't realize how hard it can be to get a film from the initial process of making it to actually distribute it. Did you guys run into any sort of trouble with that?
I would say things actually went surprisingly smoothly. The production went very well, and then, after we're done shooting, James locked himself in his house for a couple of months and edited the movie. And from the very early rough cuts, we could tell that something there, is like, we hit the magic formula.
Yeah.
I'm very immune to jump scares, and I was familiar with the project, so I knew when they were coming, and they still got me every time when I was watching it. And then we screened the movie in Toronto, and the movie played so great in one of the midnight screenings there, and we saw the movie to Sony that night.
Yeah.
And Sony and Film District have been very enthusiastic and very supportive. So far things are going well.
Yeah, see, I'm like you. I've seen so many horror movies in my life that I feel like you can't get me anymore. And despite that, when I'm watching this, there were moments where I was really uncomfortable. I was just like, I know it's coming.
Yeah.
I know it's coming, but I just am really uneasy right now. And to me, that's the mark of a really successful, suspenseful horror.
Absolutely. And you can tell James really knew what he was doing. And it's very confident pacing, to kind of string the audience along that, then hit them just when they were not expecting.
Yeah. How do you feel about, I mean, obviously coming from, with Paranormal Activity and everything, that had to just been kind of a whirlwind experience, the way that whole thing played out, and the success that it's had, and in a way, I think it's almost safe to say that you guys kind of revived the ghost story for movies, because we had this whole glutton of, remakes of Japanese horror films that were they almost all felt exactly the same. And then Paranormal Activity comes along, and like suddenly we're seeing like a return of the good old-fashioned ghost movie.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean I think you did a good job of bringing it back.
Thanks. I don't know how much credit, if any, I can take for it. I'm glad people really responded to Paranormal Activity, and I think people, for the same reason, will respond to Insidious, because it kind of goes back to the roots of like the classic horror, haunted house or ghost story that doesn't have to rely on gore or anything too grotesque to shock you, but on kind of like the things that really trouble you, the things that make you wonder, what's could be behind me that I can't see, and what's in the closet. Those kind of very universal fears that a lot of people share.
Yeah. The question I forgot I was going to ask Lee was, I just read an article the other day where Guillermo del Toro was talking about, he had made this movie, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, remake of Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, and he said that the MPAA would not give them a PG-13 because they said it was too intense for a PG-13. So here's my question. How the hell did you guys get a PG-13 for this movie?
It wasn't easy. We actually had to have a little bit of a battle, because we knew from the beginning that we wanted to make it PG-13.
Yeah.
So we made sure there's no gore, no blood, there's only the one curse word that you're allowed to get a PG-13. So we played it by the book, and they still wanted to give us an R rating for the same reason, that it's too intense. And we told them, but you can have a PG-13 movie where people get machine gunned, and you can have all this kind of stuff. And finally, you know, we kind of convinced them to, but it was very, very borderline that we got the PG-13, and we take it kind of like as a badge of honor that even though we didn't break any of the rules, they still wanted to slap us with an R just because they found it so intense and scary.
That's good. I mean, I think, honestly, guys, I can tell you this for a fact because I've seen the movie. Don't let the fact that this is PG-13 make you think that this is anything less than a frightening, horrifying experience, because it really is. I think you guys have pushed that boundary to a new level. What's up next for you after this?
Got a few, you know, projects cooking up. I don't really like discuss anything.
Nothing you want to talk about right now?
Yeah, I'll be happy to sit down and talk about it after it's done.
Sure, no problem. I mean, can I at least ask you, do you know, there's been a lot of discussion about possibly a third Paranormal Activity movie. Do you know anything about that? Or?
Well, it's been announced, and it will be released on October 21st.
So it's a done deal.
And that's all I can tell you.
That's all you can tell me. Okay, all right, I got you. So no spoilers.
The only thing that I can add is that under the banner of this production deal that we did in Insidious, we have another movie called The Bay that Barry Levinson directed, which is now in post-production. And we are very excited about a Rob Zombie movie that we're going to do called Lords of Salem that's going to get into production soon.
That's great, man. It looks like you got a lot of really cool things going on, and that's just awesome.
Trying to.
Living the dream, right?
Trying to, yeah.
What's your experience been like here at South by Southwest, coming to Texas? And
so far, I've only been here for one day, and so far it seems really cool. It seems like, you know, it's a really, really fun, happening town, and people seem to really be just having a good time and enjoying the festival. And I really wish I just had more time to stay here. Yeah. And maybe next year I'll come here just as a fan and as a tourist and enjoy the experience.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, man. It's a real pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Great to meet you. Congratulations, it's a wonderful film.